Welcome back, y'all, to Talktooemcon, where we don't hold back. We hold court. I'm your host, it's me, Conway, aka Talktooemcon, and today we're asking a heavy but necessary question, man. Do black men feel seen, heard, respected, not just at work, not just in dating, but as a full human being, man? Complex, layered, deserving, and softness and accountability, right? We're going there today, all right? Quick heads up, though. Just a quick heads up. This is not a pity party, it's a rollout plan. We're unpacking the invincible weight, the culture, and communication breakdown, right? And how we build real spaces to be honest without feeling weak. Now, if you're a brother listening, this is for you, man. If you love a black man, this is also for you. Lace up your boots and let's talk, all right? Sometimes in life we gotta understand that things change, and even so maintain and keep the love the same. When you grow apart from your heart, the hurt can't be explained. It's a shame, I guess that's why they call them growing pains. Sometimes in life we gotta understand that things change, and even so maintain and keep the love the same. When you grow apart from your heart, the hurt can't be explained. It's a shame, I guess that's why they call them growing pains. All right. Now I got your boots laced up and everything like that. Let's talk about the load we carry that most folks never see. It's loads that we carry that most people do not never see. Now let's call it what it is, right? A lot of us were trained to be strong, stoic, providers, 24/7 on do not disturb. We were do not disturb before do not disturb, bro. When it came to being strong, stoic, and a provider, right? Smile for the team photo, allow the doubt, pay the bill, fix the problem. Society praises that part, you know? Society says he's reliable, he's silent. And it's true. Black men move mountains, right? We move them every day. But let's keep it a buck. The same praise becomes a pressure cooker when nobody asks what it costs just to keep, performing this toughness. No one asks us what is the cost it takes for us to keep performing at this level. We just have to keep smiling, keep moving on, right? Now, here's the tension. We're rewarded, right, for being quiet about pain. Promotions go to the man who never complains. Relationships applauded when he never makes drama, right? Friendships that only checks in for jokes, not the truth, right? Meanwhile, the body makes the receipts. Tight jaw, clenched shoulders, a mind that never powers down, right? We call it grind. Sometimes it's just untreated stress wearing a hoodie. I'm going to lean in on this one. Let me push a little, right? Somewhere along the way, Stoic got confused with silence. I'm going to say this again. Along the way, Stoic got confused with silence. And silence is expensive, right? You pay for it in your short tempers, your numbness, or that I'm good. And that really makes you feel weaker, right? That I'm good really means I'm drowning, but I got it. And good morning. You know, that I'm good means I got it. I'm cool. I'm going to just rest and go to work in the morning. We know this. But the stigma around mental health still whispers, right? Therapy is for other folks. Nah, man. Therapy is for people with a mind that includes us, bro. That includes us. I'm a let's just think about this. Doctor took my pressure, right? 150 over something. The nurse asked me, was I stressed? I gave the classic, I'm fine. She smiled and tapped the cuff. Y'all, I'm always, say otherwise. I laughed, but that shit stung, man. I'm a heavy guy. Been going through up and down of lost weight, right? Now some of y'all might know I have a kidney issue because of COVID, right? So that shit hurted, right? I drove home with the radio off and told my lady, man, like, I need help before this becomes a hospital thing, right? And, she was supportive of it, right? But that day was, I felt like that day of I'm fine retired in me, right? Here's another layer, you know, just provider pressure, right? Provider is noble, right? But when your worth equals your pockets, your wallet, you know, love becomes a performance review, right? You're up only when you're up. You're down, suddenly you feel disposable, right? That's not love. That's metrics, right? And we are not quarterly KPIs, fam. We're not, right? So, look, I'm Gen X, right? And you know how y'all go through Gen Zs and this. But I'm Gen X with Wi-Fi, bro. I respect the stand tall playbook, right? But I also believe in patch updates. Strength 2.0 includes the sentence, I need help with this. Being a man isn't about never breaking, it's about knowing how to repair. Now, this is a quick gut check for everybody, man. Where do you feel the weight the most? Home, job, church, or the group chat? I'm gonna ask you again. Brothers, where do you feel the weight the most at? Home, the job, church, or your group chat? Don't overthink it. Just name it out loud. Just name it out. I'm gonna give everybody a 3-second pause. Now I'm gonna say 5. All right. Now, whatever you said, stick a pin in it. You know how we be on Instagram, we pin the comments and shit like that, right? That's where we're gonna work at. All right? That's where we're gonna work. Wherever you pinned. Home, job, church, or group chat, right? Bottom line, society praises our resilience while it pressures our silence, man. If we want to feel heard, We have to stop auditioning for invincibility, right? And start advocating for humanity. We have to stop being not seen, right? Now, let's step into the house, right? Let's step into the house, the barbershop, and the timelines. Because the way we talk to each other is making or breaking whether we feel heard. Now, in a relationship, we don't open up. We don't. And it's always asked, why don't we open up? We hear that a lot as men. Sometimes we did open up once and got laughed at, minimized, or weaponized later in the argument. Sometimes we never learned the language. Sometimes we never learned the language. We can talk money, music, March Madness, about our emotional, vocab. You know what I mean? And that emotional vocab is 3 words: good, stressed, tired. Here's the cheat code. Ladies, when he shares, don't interrogate. Investigate with core. Investigate the core with care. Brothers, when she asks, don't deflect. Translate your feelings, right? Not just your facts. I'm angry because I'm scared I'm failing us. Be that fluent, right? Now, my daughter brought home a rough report card, right? I went straight to, you're not even trying. She shut down on me, right? I caught myself and had to reframe. The moment these grades dropped, right? Here's the effect. She thought, I'm scared I'm failing you, right? Because me and her mother always say, do not do what we did, even though I went to college, even though, but that was something I did to get away from the city, right? Now, the path is what's really tripping you up, right? And she said algebra. I don't get it. Sometimes I'm embarrassed to ask. The whole vibe changed, right? We set 2 moves. After school, we would practice, twice a week. And on a Sunday night playing session, right? Not laziness, lack of tools, reframe, turn lecture into strategy. In the media, we turn on a screen and a black male archetype shows up like they pay rent, right? The threat, the clown, the athlete, the tragic hero, the stoic boss. Some of it's changing, praise God, but the algorithm still loves extremes, right? If you're not hilarious or dangerous, are you visible? Right? That's what it feels like, right? But our real lives are middle scenes. You got to clock in, reading bedtime stories, paying down debt, praying for patience, making art on a Tuesday, Visibility isn't fame, it's accuracy. We need more of that. Now, the conversations we don't have. Barbershops, you know, barbershop talk is sacred, right? A lot of us males go to barbershops unless you getting your hair braided or your locks twisted up or something like that. You still go to the barbershop to get it, get your line up. But it can be safe at its faults, right? We debate hoops for 45 minutes and skip fatherhood in 45 seconds. We roast the fit, not the fear. At home, we might correct our son's behavior, our daughter's behaviors without decoding their feelings, right? Stop crying, man. When what we mean is, I got you, right? What's behind the tears? We're losing reps on the emotional gym, bro. We're losing reps on the emotional gym. I want all my brothers out there listening, or if you're a female out there listening, a mini framework, right? That I learned in therapy, right? It's called MAP. And I want y'all to try this drill of MAP. MAP, right? M stands for moment, A stands for effect, and P stands for path, right? Moment. Say what just happened. Effect. Name the feeling, not the judgment, right? Ask, what do we do with this? Just take this example, right? You come home quiet. I feel anxious when I can't read you. That's the effect. Can you take 10 to unpack before dinner? That's the path. You know, and then I ain't Shakespeare, but it works, right? It's not Shakespeare, but it works, right? So just think about this. You come home quiet. That's the moment. I feel anxious when I can't read you. That's the effect. Can you take 10 to unpack before dinner? And that's the path, right? Now, all right, practice this with me. The scenario, you walk in tired, your partner says you good. The old you says I'm fine. New you now tries Matt. Say it with me. Moment. When you're asked, when you ask me, how can I put this? Okay. When you ask me, right as I walked in, right? That's the moment. It's coming in, right? The fact I felt overwhelmed and a little on edge. The path. Can we take 10 for me to land, then talk after dinner? That's it. You know, facts, feelings, next step. No smoke, just structure, right? Accountability note. Also, brothers, being heard doesn't mean being beyond critique, right? Sometimes we are the communication breakdown. You know, we can't demand softness and dish out sarcasm. Right? We can't ask for respect and keep secrets. Growth means holding the L when it's yours and turning it into a lesson, not a lifetime. Well, a lifetime, but not a lifestyle, you know, because you want to take these steps to change for your lifetime, right? You want to make sure things move, and the way you move now is not considered your lifestyle, because people will hold that shit against you forever, right? If you if you felt slightly attacked, it might be a love tap. Just breathe, right? It might be a love tap, bro. Now, here's the big picture. When the culture flattens us and our circles mute us, right? We stop believing the lie that we're only valuable when we're useful, right? That's not life. That's customer service. So moving forward, we cannot be setting our minds up to think that we're customer service. Stop believing a lie that you're not valuable. And only time people care about you is when they're using you for something, right? Now we pivot from diagnose to design, right? How do we build spaces where black men are allowed to be full humans and not seem like we're begging for permission? Therapy gives you language, right? Brotherhood gives you witness, right? And creativity gives you oxygen. I know y'all can see the little 3D printer, my 3D printer right there. That's my second one, right? And that creativity that I get out of that brings me oxygen. Look, I created this. This is a black woman, but it changes colors, bro. Right? And that was one of the happiest things that I've done. Then I even went on to create, little things of my family, little dolls of my family, right? That might be, you know, a licensed therapist, a men's small group, a group chat that isn't just memes, or a Sunday run club that turns into a check-in circle after mile two, right? Pick two lanes and commit. One professional, one communal, right? It's if money's tight, right? Check community clinics or faith back faith based, counseling, programs. And don't sleep on creative process, right? A notebook, a beat pad, a canvas, something that, you know, make you feel heard. Sometimes the page hears you before people do, right? Sometimes the coding machine hears you before you do. You know what I mean? Before other people do, right? Sometimes the beat that you make, you know, is what makes you smile, right? Let's see. Sunday, 4x4, right? We're gonna do this. Sunday, 4x4. 4 minutes, 4 prompts. When, what did I do well this week? Wait, where did it feel heaviest? Witness, who saw me for real? And then the next step, that 4, what one small move for next week, right? What's one small move to make for next week? That's your 4x4. Traffic light checks, right? Red. What do I need to stop this week, right? What do I need to stop this week? Yellow. What needs caution or convo? Green. What's working? Do more of that. Just simple, brutal, effective, right? Or you can try, what is it called? The 2-touch rule, right? Text 2 brothers. Two men that's your homies, families, whatever, right? That you're proud of, right? Proud of you, whoever, right? How can I support you before Friday? Then text yourself. I would ask you, I would, you know, you, I know it might sound crazy to text yourself, but I would ask for help with blank by Tuesday, right? Like, it's just little steps to help change your momentum in life to show that you are important. Talking to your sons, your daughters, younger men, younger women, right? Raising girls, mm, fella, raising girls is a simple weekly script, right? What made you proud this week? What's frustrating you? What did you need help and didn't ask? You know, what you need help with this week? You didn't ask me. You know what I mean? What's one thing you want me to know? Keep it short, consistent, judgment free. You're not solving your scene, right? That's how you raise your children, man, who don't mistake silence for strength, especially if you're raising young men. I have my son, but I have a son, but it's challenging because when you want to be a father, the other person don't want you to be, right? So I go through a stress that a lot of people can, but a lot of people can't because some people just forgive and forget. I can't forget. I wasn't raised that way, right? Hopefully one day he's at the age soon where he'll reach out to me and I'm gonna be proud to even talk to him. I might even fucking cry. You know, this show, Talktooemcon, isn't just content, man. It's a mirror and a microphone, right? Stories cut through, defense. When a brother hears, I felt small in that meeting and pretended I didn't, he realizes himself, the moment you normalize emotional literacy, you de-weaponize shame. And when shame leaves the room, honestly, you know, honesty walks in wearing house shoes, man. Here's what we're building, right? Here's what we're building. Send a voice note, 60 to 90 seconds, answering one question. When was the last time you felt truly heard? Just do a 60 to 90-second voice note to yourself, asking yourself, when was the last time you felt truly heard? If you never felt it, say that. We'll feature a few, next steps on the next episode, right? And if you're a parent, partner, or a friend of a black man, tell us how you make space. Let's crowdsource the blueprint, right? This isn't just for us black men or men, period, to sit here and, it's for us to try to figure out everyone and make right and do right. When we all on the same page, everything works perfect. But when we're fighting against each other and no one's talking to each other, it doesn't just drain you. It drains everyone involved. Now, the final tool before we land, right? Because we was in the air today. The 4 H's for every circle: honesty, humility, humor, and hope. The 4 horsemen, right? Honesty says the quiet part, right? Humility receives feedback. Humor keeps us human. Hope keeps us showing up. That's the culture shift. So I want y'all to remember the 4 H's: honesty, humility, humor, and hope. Now, black men, we are more than what we survive, right? What we build, what we feel, and how we love. Today, we asked if black men feel heard in 2025. The real play is making sure that by 2026, the answer is louder than ever with a screaming, yes! Yes! Because we built rooms where our voices belong. If this hits you, share it with your brother, your friend, your lady. Rate the show. Drop a review with one thing you're taking into the week, right? Send your voice note. When was the last time you felt truly heard? You know the vibes. You know the vibes, man. Subscribe so you don't miss the follow-up episode featuring your stories. So I do want y'all to send me those notes, man. Send me the notes. When the last time, black men, y'all been heard? And I will definitely, on the next episode of this, follow up and, so you can be heard. I'm Conway. This is Talktooemcon. Be safe, be real, be loved. We out. Sometimes in life we gotta understand that things change, and even so maintain and keep the love the same. When you grow apart from your heart, the hurt can't be explained. It's a shame, I guess that's why they call them growing pains. Sometimes in life we gotta understand that things change, and even so maintain and keep the love the same. When you grow apart from your heart, the hurt can't be explained. It's a shame, I guess that's why they call them growing pains.